Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. And tonight we're going to take a look at a Canadian politician. I've had numerous requests to look into Pierre Poilievre, and I was not eager to do so because Canadian politics are so corrupt, so dysfunctional. I've avoided doing political reads. I also feel like when things ease up for Canada, it will be the same time it does for the United States. So we're in a waiting game, and until things the Khazarian Mafia stronghold over both our countries is gone, I didn't have a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings about doing reads about Canadian politics. But there is an election coming up, and Mr. Poilievre has gotten the Conservative Party backing, and people are wanting to know something about him. Now, he was at one time known as Skippy because he became a member of parliament in his mid-20s. He's already in his early 40s a career politician. And I have trouble believing that any career politician keeps his hands clean, but the cards may tell us different. Now let's look at something I kind of compiled and some thoughts I had before we do this tarot read. Okay. So for several years, Mr. Poilievre, I'll just call him Mr. P, was listed on the World Economic Forum website, which is concerning. Okay. He claims he was never a member and requested that his name be removed from that website. And we have to be smart. The deep state will try and paint him as a WEF member or hopeful if they think it will affect his base. Now, the MSM were singing his praises at first, which is odd for a conservative politician. Raises a huge red flag. Then once he was popular, they switched and started attacking him, but in some, it's still not to the extent that they tend to attack honest candidates that they don't have strings, ties, and control of. So it makes it look like he might be a controlled opposition or Trojan horse type of candidate. Now remember, the purpose of controlled opposition is to lure conservative, normal, typical, hardworking voters who would vote patriot parties otherwise. Okay. Now we're told in the Truth Seeker movement is what I prefer, to watch the wives. Mrs. Poilievre is a Venezuelan refugee. Venezuela is a communism stronghold. So it's good to ask, how is her family back there faring? If those left behind are struggling, it would bolster any claim she's making to Canadian patriotism. However, if they are part of the wealthy elite, it would be a red flag for the opposite to be true, for her to be infiltrating and influencing from the sidelines in a not too healthy for Canadian patriot way. Okay. Now, to his credit, Mr. Poilievre was the only one of the candidates to speak with the trucker convoy, though others had shown their support. He took the time to speak with them, so kudos for that. Ultimately, you're going to have to observe his actions to determine if or to what extent he's a Trojan horse. It's too often true that conservatives tend to be lions when powerless or campaigning and weak when they're in a position to do something. So Mr. Poilievre is now talking a good game, but will he follow through and really help Canada escape their crushing government overreach? Let's ask the cards. Now, that was compiled and is on my personal Facebook page if you wanted to review it or comment on it. So just go to Laura Greenwood. Look, if you have to specify, there's a lot of them. I'm the Wasilla one. So anyway, but you don't have to. I summed it up there pretty well for you. So the MSM criticism doesn't seem to be as strong as it would be for a truly out of left field candidate. He's already a career politician. He's talking a great game, but we're going to ask the cards. Would he follow if elected? What kind of leadership would we see from him? What kind of leadership and what kind of campaign promise follow through could people expect if he is the winning candidate and becomes the next Prime Minister of Canada? Now, we have to remember, before that happens, there may be some huge world changes, but we're going to ask, if he was elected, what type of, would he follow through, and what type of leader would he prove to be? What are his, are there deep state ties we need to know? Let's let the universe tell us what type of follow through he'd have, and any other information the universe wants us to know. So what we're asking the universe is to tell us about his candidacy for higher office and what we would see as far as follow through, or help him with the keep his campaign promises if he was elected. And any other information the universe wants to share. Okay, Ace of Pentacles, Two of Swords, Six of Cups, Six of Swords, the Hermit, Eight of Swords, Queen of Pentacles. We're often told in the Truth Seeker movement that to just be mindful that our leaders aren't elected, they're chosen. We have an Ace of Pentacles showing up for Mr. Poilievre, Mr. P. So it looks like he's going to have a successful candidacy, but it's one that has been affected because of a behind-the-scenes compromise or decision. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean bad things for Canada. So successful candidacy is looking really good for him. Okay, in the recent past, we have the Six of Cups, which is a beautiful card and speaks of reconciliation and love and kindness to littles, and that's good. Okay, that may be one of the reasons that his candidacy has been promoted and looks like it's going to be effective. In the present, this card talks about going from a place of strife and conflict to somewhere that's more comfortable. So it does look like when elected, he will keep some of his campaign promises. Okay. Now we have some wise old energy showing up here in the Hermit card in the near future. It's always good to look at what the Hermit is shining a light on. He's shining a light on this Eight of Swords. Swords are thoughts and words. Okay. And this person in this card is willingly restrained, participating willingly. So there's some waiting that's going to happen. There is going to be some of his campaign promises that won't be kept. It may be part of this agreement that this card shows. Okay. But ultimately then for Canada, we've got the secondary advice and clarification card is the Queen of Pentacles. And she shows abundance and satisfaction and security. So he will help Canada move into a much better era with their mandates, doctrines, even their economy. Let's see if there's some other information the universe wants to share additionally about his candidacy and his willingness and ability to follow through with his campaign promises. Okay, got the Judgment card showing here. Okay, so part of the reason he is going to come through and has had this, he's going to be facing some consequences. He may be another one of those controlled opposition, but for the white hats, so that he's definitely better than the current Mr. T in Canada. And we've got some skilled labor and a partial effect of what he promises and getting done. We have the Knight of Cups showing up, okay? Knight of Cups is very tricky and makes false promises. So you do need to be aware that his candidacy looks like it'll be successful, but this is showing up as part of his effect too, is making promises he really has no intention of keeping. Okay, got another trickery card going here. It's strong on the trickery, okay? Because with this one, he is stepping out with what he can carry and sneaking away. Pretty pleased with himself. So as I said before, ultimately, Canadians are going to have to just watch and see, judge him by his actions. His talk is perfect right now. He's got charisma and he's got great talking points, and he's getting people's hopes up. But ultimately, he is a career politician, and he has been a career politician in a very corrupt and dysfunctional government. And he is no stranger to saying whatever it takes to get the objective he seeks. Will he be an improvement over the current? It looks so, like so. Will he keep his campaign promises? Some of them, yes. Now, one of the ones he makes is to have Canadians be the freest people in the world. That would be fabulous. I hope he does that. I hope he ends the mandates and the travel restrictions that Canada suffers under right now. And so definitely an improvement for Mr. T, but still not what we want for our world going forward ultimately, where we want politicians to not make a career of it and to do it for the right reasons and not because it's their path to inside information and getting rich. Those days are going to be over fairly soon. But in the meantime, watch what he does. Don't worry about what he says, watch what he does, because he's talking great. He's had some great coaching and he's saying pretty things, but ultimately don't get your hopes up too much, because he's a career politician coming from a time when that didn't speak to integrity. Someday it will. That's it for this read. Thank you so much for your time and spending a little of it with me. I do appreciate it. And I'm sorry if my read disappointed anybody that had high hopes for him. It's okay to have some moderate expectations. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you keep your expectations moderate. He will come through with a few of the things he's saying. And always listen with your discernment and watch what he does, because talk's cheap. Okay? Thank you so much. Until next time, love and light.